With the 2020 presidential election upon us, it seems like everything is somehow linked to or overshadowed by politics. But with the campaigns at their peak, we want to know, how did political advertising get to where it is today? Welcome to Sponsored. Success in politics has always been about reaching the most people with the most appealing message and getting them to vote. The 1950s in the United States were prosperous times. Post-war economic growth led to the baby boom, the expansion of infrastructure, and an explosion of innovation and new technologies that changed the way Americans lived. One of those innovative new technologies was the television. For the first time, Americans could sit down as a family in their homes and watch programs broadcast on this incredible new machine. The ability to reach people in their homes in a way never before dreamed of was something not overlooked by politicians. And in 1952, Dwight D. Eisenhower became the first presidential candidate to broadcast a major television advertisement for his campaign.
When prices have doubled, when taxes break our backs, and we are still fighting in Korea, is tragic, and it's time for a change.
The ads featured real Americans asking real questions about everyday issues the country was facing at the time, with Eisenhower, who definitely wasn't reading from a teleprompter, answering those questions. The ads were developed by Rosser Reeves, a pioneer of television advertising and the man who invented the unique selling proposition. Nearly 70 years later, much of the content in the Eisenhower ads includes familiar hallmarks of political ads we see today. Rosser believed in crafting political messages the same way you would craft a message for a product or brand.
You remember Franklin Delano Roosevelt's inaugural address? People only remember one thing in it. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. There in the middle of an inaugural address was a 5-second spot, and that's all people remember.
These Eisenhower clips were the beginning of modern political advertising. They set the stage and the bar for advertising to come, and for decades, television was the medium for politicians to reach a massive audience of voters. But as the CD began to replace the cassette, a new contender for political messaging dominance emerged, and even Rosser Reeves wouldn't have been able to anticipate its potential. It's 1995. Clifford Stoll, writing for Newsweek, stated, "The truth is, no online database will replace your daily newspaper. No CD-ROM can take the place of a competent teacher, and no computer network will change the way government works." Fast forward to 2020, newspaper publishing is down 7.2% over the last 5 years. And with 34% of Americans opting to get their news from digital platforms first. I don't think many people use CD-ROMs anymore, but with the current pandemic, most educational institutions have shifted completely to online classes. As for computer networks changing the way government works, well. However, as Spice World swept the planet, some intrepid minds saw the potential that this new internet would have for political campaigns. Peter Vallone was one of the first American politicians to make use of banner ads in 1998 in his campaign for New York governor. He ran negative ads against his opponent, George Pataki, in the New York Times and on other websites. Ultimately, it wasn't enough to win Vallone the governorship, but it was an inciting incident that led to widespread use of web banner ads for the 2000 presidential election. In 1999, then manager of political advertising for the Microsoft network, Cyrus Crone penned an article for Slate. It outlined the potential for web-based ads. He talked about targeting by demographics and location, analytics like watch rates for online video ads, capturing email lists, and even leveraging the web as a tool to motivate those who are passionate about issues. All of these topics are still the most important aspects of digital campaigns today, and to see them talked about 20 years ago is nothing short of prescient. Crone finishes his article by stating, "Come November 2000, I expect the question will no longer be whether web-based political advertising works, but whether it works too well." Too well seems to be the answer today. The next major leap in political advertising practices came during the 2008 election cycle, when Barack Obama faced off against John McCain. Obama was the first presidential candidate to implement a social media strategy to his campaign, and it's safe to say it kind of paid off. By November 2008, Obama had over 3 million fans on Facebook, 4 times the number John McCain was able to generate. It showed the value of social media as a nationally reaching extension of what amounted to a grassroots campaign, with voters suddenly becoming advocates for the candidate in a completely new way. The campaign didn't stop with Facebook and used YouTube, which was still a relatively new platform, to post celebrity endorsements and campaign messages, and amounting to over 14 million hours of Obama-centered videos streamed during the 2008 campaign. The Obama campaign marked the final push into today's media landscape for political advertising. Social media has had an unbelievable impact on all of our lives, and specifically politics, with Twitter serving as the main soapbox for Trump. Investigations into Facebook's lack of policy regarding disinformation and fake news, and just last week, the FBI announced that Iran and Russia are likely guilty of tampering with the election through the use of threatening email. We've come a long way since Eisenhower's kind-hearted TV ad. It's difficult to know what's to come, but with everyone more connected, more engaged, and with more access to what's going on in politics than ever before, the question is, what do you think will be the next media shift in political advertising? Let us know in the comments.